picture the setting. It is London. It is October in the year 18-something. The history books have left the last two digits blank, but we know the era.
We certainly do.
It's a time of gas lamps, horse-drawn cabs, and shadows that seem to stretch just a little too long. Usually when we talk about this city in literature, we start with the fog. But tonight, the fog is waiting in the wings.
It is.
For now, the air is clear, the wind is still, and we are about to witness a scene that is going to shatter the peace of the Victorian world.
It really is the calm before the storm in the most literal sense. We are stepping into Chapter 4 of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, a section of the case file known as the Carew murder case.
Right.
And what makes this particular deep dive so compelling is that we're moving from the realm of unease, you know, those quiet, uncomfortable feelings people had about Mr. Hyde, into the realm of absolute, undeniable horror.
Exactly. Up until now, Hyde has been this creeping dread, right? A shadow in a doorway. Today, he becomes a headline.
A very loud headline.
So our mission for this deep dive is to reconstruct the crime of the century piece by piece. We're going to look at the eyewitness testimony, examine the physical evidence left in the gutter, and follow the police procedural that takes us from the polite streets of the wealthy straight into the nightmare districts of the poor.
And we are going to do this by treating the text not just as a story, but as a dossier. We need to analyze the psychology of the witness, the sheer ferocity of the attack, and the baffling clues that, if we're being honest, they just don't quite add up in a rational way.
So let's set the stage for everyone listening. We are looking through the eyes of our key witness, a maidservant. She lives alone in a house not far from the river. It is about 11 o'clock at night. Now, normally, a Londoner at this hour is locking the doors and drawing the curtains against the gloom, but the text tells us something surprising about this particular night.
It does. It says the early part of the night was cloudless. The lane she's overlooking is brilliantly lit by the full moon.
Which is, it's such a stark image.
It's crucial for two reasons, actually. First, logically, it allows her to see the crime clearly. If the fog had rolled in early like it usually does, we wouldn't have a case. We'd have no witness.
Sure.
But secondly, and more artistically, it creates this incredible spotlight effect.
It's highly cinematic. And the maid isn't just staring out the window out of boredom either. She is in a very specific, almost strange mood.
Yes.
The text says she was romantically given. She's sitting on her trunk by the window, just gazing at the moonlight. And she later tells the police, with tears running down her face, mind you, that she had never felt more at peace with all men or thought more kindly of the world.
That detail is devastating when you think about what happens next. Stevenson is setting a trap for us.
He really is.
He gives us this moment of transcendent peace. She is literally overflowing with benevolence, feeling this deep connection to all humanity. It's the highest point of civilized emotion.
Yeah.
And he places it seconds before the absolute lowest point of primal savagery.
It's the ultimate contrast. So she's bathing in this moonlight, feeling love for the world, and then two men enter the stage below her. First, we have the victim.
Right.
He's walking up the lane. He's described as an aged and beautiful gentleman with white hair.
And everything about this man radiates safety. The maid notices his old-world kindness. He has this high, distinguished demeanor.
He's a gentleman.
He isn't just an old man. He represents the establishment itself. He represents tradition, manners, the very structure of Victorian society. He is everything that keeps the chaos at bay.
And he's walking toward the second man, a very small gentleman. And here's where the atmosphere totally shifts. The maid is watching from the window, and as soon as her eyes land on this smaller man, that feeling of romantic peace just evaporates.
Gone in an instant.
She recognizes him.
It's Mr. Hyde. He had visited her master once before. And note her immediate reaction here. She dislikes him. She doesn't just think, oh, that's the rude man from before. It's visceral. The text implies an instinctive revulsion. This is a recurring theme in the case file. Hyde's presence is like a chemical contaminant. You don't just see him, you react to him.
So the two men meet in the moonlight. The older gentleman, Sir Danvers Carew, bows. He's incredibly polite about it.
Very proper.
The maid says he accosted Hyde with a very pretty manner of politeness. It looks like he's just asking for directions. The moon is shining right on his face, highlighting how gentle and innocent he is.
And consider the visual here for a second. You have the tall, white-haired, distinguished man bowing to this small, hunched figure. Carew is open, he's vulnerable, he's expecting a civilized response.
Because he's playing by the rules of society.
Exactly. He is playing by the rules.
But Hyde isn't playing by those rules. He's just standing there. He's holding a heavy cane, trifling with it. The text says he's listening with ill-contained impatience.
You can almost hear the tapping of that cane on the cobblestones.
The tension is winding up like a clock spring.
And Carew, bless him, he doesn't see it at all. He thinks the impatience is just rudeness. He doesn't realize he's standing next to a powder keg.
And then snap! The explosion. It happens in an instant. The text says Hyde broke out in a great flame of anger.
No warning.
No warning at all, no argument, just sudden white-hot rage. He starts stamping his foot, brandishing the heavy cane like a madman. The maid describes him as carrying on like he's lost his mind.
And Carew's reaction is just heartbreaking. He steps back. The text says he is very much surprised and a trifle hurt.
A trifle hurt.
He's not even scared yet. He's confused. He's thinking, why is this gentleman shouting at me? He is trying to process a rational reason for completely irrational behavior.
But he never gets the chance to figure it out. Hyde loses all control. He clubs the old man to the earth. And this is where the text gets incredibly gruesome. It's not just a hit.
Yeah.
It's an annihilation. Stevenson uses the phrase ape-like fury.
That phrase, ape-like fury, is doing a massive amount of heavy lifting here. Well, we are in the late 19th century. Darwin is on everyone's mind. There is this deep-seated societal fear that just beneath our collars and ties, we are still beasts.
The primitive ancestors.
Right. Hyde isn't just killing a man, he is devolving. He is acting like a wild animal.
He tramples the victim. He hails down a storm of blows. The maid, watching from the window, says she can hear the bones audibly shatter.
It's horrific.
The body is actually described as jumping upon the roadway from the sheer force of the strikes. It's sickening.
It is singular ferocity. That's the exact police term for it later.
Singular ferocity.
It's singular because it makes absolutely no sense. There's no motive. There's no robbery. It is violence for the sheer pleasure of destruction. It is the id unleashing itself on the ego.
The horror is too much for the witness. The maid faints. She drops to the floor, and the scene goes dark.
A literal blackout.
When she comes to, it's 2 o'clock in the morning, the moon is gone, the murderer is gone. But the victim is still there, lying in the lane, incredibly mangled.
And now the forensic investigation begins. The police arrive, and they find some very puzzling clues.
Let's walk through those clues.
First, the weapon. That heavy cane. It was made of a rare, very tough, would some texts say heavy mahogany or a similar tropical hardwood. It should have been unbreakable.
But the force was so extreme that the stick broke right in the middle. One splintered half rolled into the gutter, the other half...
Gone.
Gone. Hyde took it with him.
Which is a strange detail. Why take half a broken stick?
Panic, maybe.
It suggests panic. Or perhaps he was gripping it so tightly he didn't even realize he was still holding it as he ran away. But he left other things behind.
Right. A purse and a gold watch were found on Carew's body.
So we know for a fact this wasn't a robbery. Hyde didn't want the gold. He just wanted to break something.
But the most important clue wasn't the watch or the gold. It was a piece of paper found in the victim's pocket. A sealed, stamped envelope.
Addressed to none other than Mr. Utterson, the lawyer, our main protagonist.
Imagine waking up to that.
I can't even...
You're Utterson, you're a respectable lawyer, you're still in bed the next morning, and the police are knocking at your door with a murder victim's mail.
And Utterson's reaction here is classic Utterson. He is the ultimate professional. He sees the letter, hears the description of the crime, and he shoots out a solemn lip.
He refuses to speculate.
Completely. He refuses to gossip. He says, I shall say nothing until I have seen the body.
So he gets dressed and goes to the police station. He walks into the cell, looks down at the mangled remains, and confirms the identity. Yes, I recognize him. I am sorry to say that this is Sir Danvers Carew.
And the reaction of the police officer is one of those perfect little human moments Stevenson throws in. The officer exclaims, "Good God, sir, is it possible?" He's genuinely shocked.
But then
almost immediately his eyes light up with professional ambition.
I love that detail. He's looking at a dead body, but he's thinking, this case is going to make me famous.
Sir Danvers Carew is a VIP. This murder will make a deal of noise, as he puts it.
It adds such a layer of realism. Everyone has an angle. But the officer is stuck. They have a dead VIP, but no suspect. Until he produces the broken stick.
And when Utterson sees that stick, his blood must have turned to ice.
He recognizes it instantly.
It's not just a random cane. It's a gift that Utterson himself gave to Henry Jekyll many years ago.
Talk about a conflict of interest.
Exactly. This physical object directly links his best friend, the highly respectable Dr. Jekyll, to a brutal homicide. Utterson is trapped. So he asks the officer, was the suspect small?
And the officer confirms it. The maid described him as particularly small and particularly wicked-looking. And right there, the pieces click into place for Utterson.
He knows.
He knows who it is. He says, I think I can take you to his house.
Now buckle up, because if you thought the murder scene was atmospheric, this journey to Soho is about to set a completely new standard for gloom.
Oh, absolutely. It's 9 in the morning, but you wouldn't know it. The fog has finally arrived, and it has brought the whole cavalry.
It really has.
Stevenson describes a great chocolate-colored pall lowering over the city.
A pall is the cloth you put over a coffin. The symbolism there isn't subtle at all. The city is dead.
And the wind is charging and routing the vapors, creating these strange shifting lights. One minute it's dark like the back end of evening. The next there's a glow of rich, lurid brown.
It sounds apocalyptic.
It does. Like the world is burning down, but the smoke is cold.
And through the window of the cab, Utterson is looking out at the district of Soho. Now, for you listening, try to visualize this. Muddy streets, slatternly passengers, lamps burning at 9 a.m., just to fight back the darkness.
Utterson sees it as a district of some city in a nightmare.
It reflects his mind, doesn't it? He's filled with gloom. He's feeling the terror of the law. He's riding into the heart of darkness to hunt down a man connected to his oldest friend.
Precisely. The external environment is perfectly mirroring his internal dread. And then the fog lifts just a little, like a curtain parting, and they arrive at the address. The home of Henry Jekyll's favorite, Mr. Hyde.
And it's a dump.
Let's be honest, it is a dump. It's a dingy street. There's a gin palace next door, a low French eating house, shop selling penny numbers and two-penny salads. Ragged children are huddled in doorways. It is the definition of poverty.
And yet, this is where Hyde lives, or at least where he hides. They knock on the door, and we meet another fantastic character, the landlady.
Oh, she is a piece of work. She's described as an ivory-faced and silvery-haired old woman. She looks like she should be baking cookies.
But Stevenson tells us she has an evil face, smoothed by hypocrisy.
But her manners are excellent. It's that duality again, appearance versus reality. Utterson asks for Hyde. She says he's not home. His habits are irregular. He's often gone for months.
But then Utterson drops the bomb. He introduces Inspector Newcomen of Scotland Yard, and her reaction is, well, it's very telling.
A flash of odious joy.
That is the phrase, a flash of odious joy. She hates Hyde. She immediately asks, what has he done?
She is actually happy that her tenant is in trouble.
It reinforces the idea that Hyde repels literally everyone he meets. He pays her rent, he keeps to himself, yet she cannot wait to see him fall.
So she lets them in. They go up to the 2 rooms Hyde uses, and the inside of the house is just as contradictory as everything else.
How so?
While the rest of the house is empty, damp, and dusty. But Hyde's rooms, they're furnished with luxury and good taste.
Yes. This is the influence of Dr. Jekyll bleeding through. There is a closet filled with expensive wine, silver plates, elegant napery, which is table linens, and a painting on the wall, a gift from Jekyll.
It's a pocket of high society hidden inside a slum.
It's totally jarring. You expect a rat's nest, and you find a gentleman's study. But it's been trashed. The rooms are ransacked, clothes are pulled out of drawers and thrown on the floor at the pockets inside out.
Hyde has fled in an absolute panic. He was looking for something likely money or papers. And look at the fireplace. There is a pile of gray ashes on the hearth.
He's been burning evidence.
The inspector digs through the ashes, which, by the way, is pretty good police work for the 1800s, and he finds the butt end of a green checkbook. It's survived the fire.
And behind the door, the other half of the murder weapon, the broken stick.
That clinches it. They have the stick. They have the checkbook. The inspector is delighted. He literally thinks, I have him in my hand.
He assumes it's a standard manhunt now. Hyde has money in the bank, several £1,000s. The inspector thinks he's a man of habits. He'll need his money, he'll show up at the bank, and we'll nab him.
But as the chapter closes, we realize it's not going to be that easy. And this is where the true mystery of Hyde deepens. He has no history.
None. Zero. The police try to build a profile. They can't find his family. They can't find any photographs of him. Even the master of the servant maid had only seen him twice. He is a phantom.
And the descriptions for the wanted posters, this is the most chilling part for me. They interview the few people who have seen him. But everyone describes him differently.
Except for one thing. There is one single point of agreement among all the witnesses.
The haunting sense of unexpressed deformity.
Let's unpack that phrase because it is the core of the horror here. Unexpressed deformity. It's not a scar. It's not a limp. It's not a missing ear.
Right. If it were a scar, they could just put that on the poster. Look for a man with a scar on his cheek. But they can't do that.
Because it's a sensation. It's the sensation that something is fundamentally wrong with him. The maid felt it. The police officer felt it. Utterson feels it.
They all feel it.
They all agree he gives the impression of being deformed. But when they're asked to point to the deformity, they can't do it. They cannot put it into words.
It's like his evil is so potent it physically manifests, but in a way that completely defies anatomy. It's a vibe check that he fails catastrophically.
That's a great way to put it. It suggests that the deformity isn't of the body, but of the essence. It's a spiritual deformity that radiates outward.
Evolutionarily speaking, these people are sensing a predator.
Exactly. A creature that looks human, but lacks the essential spark of humanity.
So let's recap the case file we've opened up today. We started with a peaceful romantic night that was completely shattered by senseless animalistic violence. We have a victim, Sir Danvers Carew, who represents everything good and noble, that old world kindness.
And he is destroyed by Hyde, who represents pure condensed malice, that ape-like fury.
We followed the trail through a nightmare version of London fog-choked, muddy, dark tech to a house that is somehow both a slum and a palace.
Which perfectly mirrors the man himself. High tastes, low morals.
And now we have a manhunt for a ghost. A man with plenty of money but absolutely no past. A man who everyone hates on sight but no one can explain why.
The noose is tightening, or at least the police think it is. But you have to wonder, how do you catch a man who seems to exist outside the normal rules of society?
Yeah.
A man who can disappear into the fog because in a very real way he is the fog.
It's a terrifying thought. The police are looking for a criminal, but Utterson knows, and we know, that they're dealing with something much, much more complex.
And that's the real horror of this deep dive. It's not just about a murder, it's about the realization that this singular ferocity is loose in the city. And if he can club a gentle old man to death for no reason at all, simply for the crime of being polite, then no one is safe.
The stick is broken, the checkbook is burned, the fog is settled back down, brown as umber, cutting off the view, and Mr. Hyde is out there somewhere.
And the question remains, when you look for Mr. Hyde, are you looking for a man or are you looking for a monster that lives inside a man?
That is the big question we are left with. We've analyzed the clues, walked the muddy streets of Soho, and stood over the ashes in the fireplace. But that unexpressed deformity is the puzzle piece that just doesn't fit.
And perhaps it's not meant to fit. Perhaps it's meant to warn us.
A warning indeed. So here is something for you to think about as you step back into your own world, hopefully one with less fog and a lot fewer heavy canes. The text mentions that everyone agrees on Hyde's deformity, but no one can specify it. If you met someone who gave you that feeling, that instinctive, skin-crawling sense of wrongness, would you trust your gut? Or would you try to rationalize it away, just like the characters in this story are trying to do?
Sometimes the instincts know what the eyes cannot see.
Stay safe out there and keep watching the shadows.